in a leap year for the months of January and February, we have to reduce one day. And remember one thing, this is only for January and February, don't go for March. Again from March onwards our calculation is same. From March onwards our 29th is over, no. From March onwards our calculation is a regular calculation. This is only a special condition. Now you tell me this first question. What is the day on 13th May 1993? What is the day on 13th May 1993? May 1993. Plus 93, how much? 3 plus 3, 6, 9 plus 1, 10, 106. 93 divided by 4, 23 fours, 92, 23. May month code, 1. 19th century, 0. 6 plus 4, 10, 130 divided by 7, 7 ones are 7, 6, 0, 7 eights are 56, 4, Thursday, 13th May 1993 is Thursday, okay. Suppose if you take the second question, on what dates of July 1963 the Friday falls? We don't know. Calculate what is the day on 1st July 1963. If you know what is the day of 1st July, you can easily say what is the first Friday, is it not? 1 plus 63 is 64. 63 divided by 4 is 15. July month code 03361446. 19th century 0. 4 plus 5 9, 9 plus 6 15, 85. 85 divided by 7 means 7 12s are 84, 1. So first is Monday, second is Tuesday, third is Wednesday, fourth is Thursday, fifth is Friday. So first Friday is 5th plus 7 days, 12th plus 7 days, 19th plus 7 days, 26th. So 5th, 12th, 19th and 26th of July 1963 the Friday falls. Clear? And coming to the third question, this third question I have seen in so many companies, Tech Mahindra particularly, previously in Mahindra Satyam also. If 15th August 1947 is Friday, exactly after 100 years, what is the day? Usually in companies, they don't give wrong data. 15th August 1947 is Friday, may be the correct data. Why he is giving this information means, in his mind, he will calculate according to the odd number of days, odd months and all. But once we know calculating this value directly, what is the necessity for this data? That is not at all required. So calculate directly, right? So after this concept, You take out the textbook of R.S. Agarwal or Gulati or whatever book available in the market, you solve the questions, you will get. But in R.S. Agarwal, 1 or 2 questions, there are wrong answers. Independence, wrong answers are there in calendars, isn't it? This method is 100% tested. Okay, and if time is permitted, we can take how we get those code also, but not at all required. Instead of that, we can take one more topic. This is about calendars. Hardly takes 10 minutes to learn the topic. Very, very important, very easy. Boring in the life, I do accept. In that, aptitude is one among them. Aptitude is boring, but you imagine one thing, listening for one time, if you are feeling aptitude is boring, I have been teaching this aptitude for the past 22 years. What about my position? So compared with my position, your position is much better. Keep that in point. Whenever you are feeling bored, that fellow 22 years he is suffering, I am happy. So if I am in troubles, you will be happy, isn't it? If you are in troubles, I will be happy. So if someone is in troubles, we will be happy. So think in that way, you will be comfortable in the class. Okay. Second one is clocks. Clocks is also important topic. The paper the company want to ask on the tougher side, he will touch all these topics, calendars, clocks, which are not related to the students. He will touch all these topics. Minimum knowledge we should have. Long hand. Long hand, for completing one full rotation, how much time it will take? 60 minutes. 1 hour. Suppose the time is 12 o'clock. If it takes one complete rotation, it becomes 1 o'clock. So in 1 hour duration, that is in 60 minutes, long hand is rotating how many degrees? 360. In 1 minute 360 degrees means, in 60 minutes 360 degrees means 6 degrees. On the other hand, if you take the short hand, for completing one full rotation, how many hours the short hand will take? 12 hours. So in 12 hours, it rotates about 360 degrees, which implies in 1 hour, that is in 60 minutes, 30 degrees, which implies in 1 minute how many degrees? Half degree. Long hand will rotate about 6 degrees in 1 minute, whereas short hand will rotate about half a degree in 1 minute. Since both the hands are moving in the same direction, the relative speed is, therefore, the relative speed is equal to 6 degrees minus half degree, that is 5.5 degree. Therefore, the time taken is equal to the original formula, time taken. What is the formula for time? Distance by speed. But in clocks between two hands, you won't have distance, you will have angle, is it not? So in place of distance, what you do is angle covered by relative speed. Time is equal to distance by speed. In place of distance, we have angle. Speed means Speed related to both the hands, what we call it as relative speed. This is the concept of clocks. Usually if he touches, he may touch any of the formula or directly substituting the data in the formula, he will get the answer. But in Wipro like companies, I saw the question, very simple question. How many times in a day both the hands of the clock will coincide, he will ask. Suppose if I ask, how many times in 1 hour both the hands will coincide? How many times? 1 time. In 12 hours, how many times both the hands will coincide? 11 times. Because between 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock, 11 to 12, 12 to 1, 2 hours are there. Between 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock, the coincidence will occur only at 12 o'clock. So for 12 hours it is 11 times, means per day the number of coincidences are 22. That point to write down. The number of coincidences between the two hands of the clock will be 22 per day. Now you tell me, how many straight lines will be formed in a day? Straight line means opposite faces. How many straight lines will be formed in 1 hour? How many straight lines will be formed in 1 hour? 1. In 12 hours, how many straight lines will be formed? 11. Because between 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock straight line is common. So, per day 22 straight lines. What you should write is the number of straight lines, in brackets write down opposite faces. The number of straight lines, opposite faces, per day will be 22. Therefore, the total number of straight lines per day will be 44. Because coincidence is also a straight line, is it not? So if we ask separately the coincidences, you must show 22. If we ask separately the number of straight lines, mentioning the opposite faces, 22. Suppose if we didn't mention anything, how many straight lines will be formed in a day means 44. So number of straight lines means coincidences, opposite faces put together will be 44. Now you tell me, how many right angles will be formed in 1 hour? How many right angles will be formed in 1 hour? 2. In the first half an hour, 1 right angle will be formed. In the second half an hour, 1 right angle will be formed. 2 right angles. For 12 hours, it should be 12 twos are 24, but 22 only. 3 o'clock right angle, 9 o'clock right angle are common. As 6 o'clock straight line is common between 5 to 6 and 6 to 7, like 3 and 9 are common. So minus 2 means 22. So for 12 hours, 22 right angles means for 24 hours, 44 right angles will be formed. Write down this. The number of right angles per day. The number of right angles per day between the two hands of the clock. Between the two hands of the clock will be 44. Understood? Next, whenever I don't know whether you have, suppose question will be asked here. Suppose in case he misses the question here, he may ask the question on this data. Even if he misses this, if he is going to ask the question on directly, a problem he want to give you directly from the clocks, the question will be like this. Concept, you listen carefully. Suppose this is 12 o'clock and this is 1 o'clock, okay, 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock. Now you tell me, between 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock, what is happening in the clock? What is happening means, the long hand has travelled all the 60 minutes. Long hand has travelled all the 60 minutes, whereas short hand has travelled only 5 minutes. What do it implies? It implies that long hand has travelled 55 minutes more than the short hand in 1 hour. To be further clear, the long hand has gained 55 minutes over the short hand if the clock is run for 1 hour. That point you must remember. Long hand to gain 55 minutes over the short hand, the clock has to run. The clock has to run for 60 minutes. Long hand to gain 55 minutes over the short hand, the clock has to run for 60 minutes. Clear? Any doubt? You are clear? So, the question may ask on this concept. Suppose if he misses this concept, he misses the number of coincidences, right angles, he may straight away come to the question. Write down the question. At what time between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock? At what time between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock both the hands of the clock will coincide? At what time between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock both the hands of the clock will coincide? Roughly you tell me, at what time both the hands will be coinciding? 2:10. 2:10 is approximate time, but exactly at what time? Because by the time the long hand has travelled 10 minutes, the short hand might have travelled a fraction including that. At what time the coincidence will occur? Here only one concept. Coincidence or straight line or a right angle, it should be formed by the long hand, because coincidence has to occur means long hand has to travel, or otherwise short hand will travel in the reverse. No, short hand will never come back. Only long hand has to travel. So, problem you write down like this for solving. All the problems we solve keeping in view the long hand, isn't it? Long hand to gain 55 minutes over the short hand. The clock has to run for 60 minutes, is it not? This was the concept what we have discussed just now. Long hand to gain 55 minutes over the shorthand, the clock has to run for 60 minutes. Between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock, if coincidence has to occur, means the long hand has to travel 10 minutes, is it not? To gain 10 minutes, because long hand has to gain 10 minutes, how many minutes are required for the clock? How many minutes are required for the clock? Compared with 55, the value of 10 will be lesser. Less by more into 60. 5 11s, 5 2s. 120 by 11. That is 10 by 11. So, at 2 hours 10 by 11 minutes, both the hands of the clock will coincide. At 2 hours 10 by 11 minutes, both the hands of the clock will coincide. Understand? But if you feel this as lengthy,